really nice cheese, I could bring you some. If I get my hands on it, because the longer you age a cheddar, it kind of gets a little bit more stiff, but it also gets kind of sweet, like sugary sweet, and it's really good.
I don't know. I don't like it as sweet. I like
Cheddar
the more
gets sweet the more you age it.
sharper.
Yeah. Oh, I'm talking about, it is a sharp cheddar. It's like, it's got a sharpness to start, but then it gets kind of sweet. I think it's because as it ages, it starts to form sugar crystals in it.
Well, you brought some over one time, and I wasn't the biggest fan of it, honestly. It's like, it was good, but it just wasn't like the holy shit, this is amazing that I always thought it was going to be.
No. Well, what did you think of the Parmesan that I brought you?
I didn't get a chance to eat any, but my mom finished it.
Parmesan.
Just instantly.
Yeah, because that was authentic Parmesan.
Yeah, she just blitzed through it.
Yeah, because it's fucking good, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. She loves Parmesan.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I got the first bit of that on film already, so
I think that's what we'll talk about for today is cheese. Hopefully one day we can get sponsored by cheese.com.
Cheese.com, okay.
Yeah, cheese.com. Have you ever looked at cheese.com?
I feel like that's going to be one of those websites that when you go there, it's just going to be like, remember Fortnite Burger? Like
no, it is nothing like Fortnite Burger. Cheese.com. It's literally just called cheese.com. It's got a fucking whole thing of cheeses by alphabet, cheeses by category, vegetarian cheeses. Don't know why you'd want to eat that. And then cheese facts.
Like by alphabet.
Serving and storage.
We need to take one day, and we're going to take all of the cheeses, and we're going to put them in a tier list. The cheeses tier list.
I would definitely do that. In fact,
would.
They just had a blog post.
There's no way I could sit long enough staring at
cheese to enjoy. Ooh. Well, I mean, there is 1,832 cheeses that they have available on their
1,000 cheeses?
Oh, no, 1,832 cheeses.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
so
almost 2,000. Almost 2,000.
Yeah.
Almost 2,000 cheeses.
Starts with Gouda, because it's, I guess, not in, normal alphabetical order to start, but starts with Gouda, then goes to Brie, American cheese, Pecorino Romano, cheddar, Manchego, smoked Gouda, Camembert, provolone.
It's like that
Animaniacs.
Please stop listing off every 1,800 G's.
Gouda than American Parmesan.
You're gonna be here. Well, I guess it's time that we hit the lull to do the intro, because that was all on film. We're just gonna keep that in there. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Descent in the Madness podcast. I'm your host, Kane/Kodiak. I'm joined along here with, I don't know what the fuck you guys want to be called. I'll let
Cheese
you...
King.
Could my name also be Kane?
Yeah. Kane 1, Kane 2, and Kane the Cheese
We can't do that because then we're going to abbreviate our names as the KKK.
Whoa, okay.
It's like we can't all have my name because mine's spelled with a K.
With my name
what
being
if mine
Chris, we're only one letter off anyway.
That is true.
What if you two are K Canes and I'm a C Cane?
The KKC.
No, C for cheese, you see? Cane, and Cheese Cane.
I feel like that's still racist somehow.
I feel like the cheese in that statement is racist.
The cheese is racist. There we go. The first topic today is cheese.
Is cheese racist?
Is cheese inherently racist?
The answer may surprise you.
I would say maybe, because there's... have you ever seen a black cheese?
Yeah.
Have
you never seen Diary of a Wimpy Kid?
No,
Have you ever gotten the cheese touch?
That cheese wasn't black. That cheese was moldy.
But what color was the mold? Black.
Green. No, it was green. No, it was green. Look this one up. Look this one up, folks. Is the cheese touch a green mold touch or a black mold touch?
Black or green?
All right,
I am almost certain it was either a green or a blue, because those are the typical kinds of mold that you'll see growing on cheese. You don't see black mold.
It was a greenish blue. Yeah, it was actually mostly yellow still.
Yeah.
I just remember it being this like black square for some reason.
No.
You're thinking of the book where it was black and white.
Yeah, that's That would explain it. No, the only cheese I
You
can
had
think
your
of
media
that,
wrong.
only cheese I can think of that's like brown or black would be like the chocolate cheeses, but those aren't really
Okay,
cheeses.
those
Which is
two
a
words should
fudge.
never go together.
Chocolate cheese.
Yeah, that just
Yeah,
sounds
well,
disgusting.
yeah, they
That
created
sounds just awful.
Don't try it.
I don't plan on it because I don't like
haven't.
chocolate that much.
Neither do I. And that does raise the question, though, of is there a white chocolate cheese? In which case, what is the point of the chocolate cheese? Like,
White chocolate is inferior chocolate.
it is.
I don't know.
Dark
I like it better, no matter how
for
bad
a
it
chocolate
sounds.
ranking.
Yeah,
That's because you like
chocolate,
white
don't
gooey
you?
stuff in your mouth.
I looked up white chocolate cheese, and it only comes up with the white chocolate cheesecake.
Huh. Well, I
Oh,
mean,
cheesecake.
cheesecake's not that bad, especially.
Okay,
with
yeah,
chocolate.
but
like
that's
cheesecake.
cheesecake. Cheesecake's different than cheese.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking like I'm full on wheels of
What?
cheese.
They're both. There's
Um,
cheese in the
I
name.
did
I don't.
just
see
I
the
did just
difference.
find this white. It says the Nun's new Skeet White chocolate cheesecake.
Eat.
Skeet White, Skete, Skeet White.
That's yeah. Well, there's chocolate cheeses. You can get them around here. I'm not gonna bring you any because I don't think we'll eat them.
Yeah, no, I will not touch that with a 9-foot fucking stick. That sounds awful.
I will say if we do get
Bet it's
Clarky
not
on,
100.
there was a
I feel like because it
cheese
sounds
that-
weird, it wouldn't. Like,
See, but also
the
at the same
worst
time
thing?
for me, like, I don't like chocolate enough to where, unless I'm eating just actual chocolate, I probably won't like it. The only chocolate flavored thing that I like is chocolate cake. I will eat chocolate cake and
Well,
enjoy
yeah.
it, but I do not like anything else that is chocolate flavored, except actual chocolate. And even actual chocolate, I don't even like that much.
Well, because if you think about like stuff like chocolate ice cream, to me it always tastes powdery. It
Yeah.
almost tastes chalky. And I think it's just because they just mix cocoa powder in with
But-
it and they kind of blend it.
But New York vanilla bean ice cream.
Now
now
that is
that-
some good ice.
That is some shit to put on your grandma's apple pie after putting it in the microwave for 10 seconds.
Did you know, in I think Maryland, around there, Maine, Maryland, in that area, they put American cheese on apple pie.
I've
Like they
heard
would
that's kind
yeah,
of
I
a
bet that's not too bad.
common thing to put cheese on pies, like
Yeah,
American style pies.
Specifically apple. That's the weird thing is I've almost only seen it on apple pies.
I've
I
seen
don't
it
think I've ever
because
read
apple,
about it on chocolate
like-
pies or anything like that.
apple pie is the American pie, like
Yeah.
you know. So that I've seen that actually a lot.
No,
and I've
that's
heard
a TV show.
that's not a TV show, you fucking idiot. It's a movie, and there are multiple movies.
That's what I said.
No, there's a
You know what
difference
else
between
is
TV
a-
shows and a movie.
Know what else
What?
is a movie? The Mask.
Oh God, let's not bring
Jim
that in here.
Yes.
Jim Carrey's 1993, and I think we actually found out that it came out in 1994, but I just kept saying
Yeah,
1993.
because the movie came out in 1994. It was probably in production in 1993.
So therefore,
but
it makes it 1993.
Yes, but going off the release dates, I mean, because
So-
then when did the movie 2012 come out? Did that come out 2012 or 2011?
That came out in 2010, I think.
Did it?
Oh, it was. I think it was 2010 or
Yeah, it
was
2009.
about, like,
All I have to say was it was such a
2012,
bad
the
movie
world
I
was gonna
didn't pay
blow
attention.
Let me look this up. I think it was actually 2009. Yeah, 2009. Because I remember being a
You know.
kid when this movie came out and just shitting britches that whole year. Like, oh, we only
Oh,
got like 2
well.
years to live, boys.
I remember like going on a
No, it's so
car
much
ride
Call of
the
Duty
day
you couldn't
it
play.
happened. Like that date that was supposed to like the world's gonna explode catastrophically for no reason at all.
Why?
And I was just in the car and I'm like, huh.
You know
I'm
what's
still
actually
here,
a
so-
very scarily, like, truly could happen at any moment, like, end of the world scenario for at least half the country, is the San
No.
Andreas fault line. That is
Yeah.
100%, like,
San
at any
Andreas.
moment, that's just a loaded gun to the whole west coast of the U.S.
But on the bright side, all that
It
does
is
is
the
remove.
west coast.
On the bright side, though,
it's
it
the
just kind of
West.
removes part of California away from the U.S., which I'm okay with.
It removes most of California.
Even better.
I think it removes all of it and breaks into Nevada.
Hey, not Nevada. We like Nevada.
Well, yeah,
Well, it's only like
Nevada's
a
kinda nice.
corner of Nevada.
Granted, there's not much in Nevada. I mean, you might miss
Except for
like
aliens.
one person. Oh yeah, but they've typically liked to
No,
visit New Mexico.
that's the whole reason the fault line probably hasn't gone yet. It's the aliens. They're
You're-
restricted because they live there.
If you want to talk about ticking time bombs, fucking Yellowstone. That
Oh my
was-
god, yeah.
They've
And
been saying that thing's gonna blow for years.
they've been
now.
saying it's like already 150 years overdue for an eruption, and it's like one of the world's last super volcanoes that when this thing goes off. Now, I was watching, this was a long time ago now, but I watched a documentary on it, and it was like, it could either A, go to the point where basically the whole world would be plunged into darkness for like a gloomy day at most for like a week straight because of the ash, or it'll completely submit so much ash that basically we'll just suffocate because we won't be able to breathe, and our own atmosphere will just basically suffocate us.
I think that to avoid that from happening, we should just start pumping magma out of it and make, lava generators and just get infinite cobblestone.
Dude, that's a great idea.
So let's turn it into some cobble generators for my sky block.
On the other side of things, though, you could use it as a way of making steam power. Granted, you'd only be making really steam power for that area, but you could superheat water.
Okay, do you think that steam power is the future? Like, I was actually just thinking about it. Because
honestly,
what is the most underutilized resource ever? Like the world, like everyone says the next big war is going to be fought over fresh water. But one thing we have plenty of is contaminated water. But steam is steam. So could, like...
Steam removes some of the contaminants.
That too, but also, like, steam is steam no matter what. It doesn't matter what type of water it comes from.
It's also funny
steam.
that you bring this up, because currently the, biggest producer of energy is nuclear power. And nuclear power is actually steam energy, because you're using the reaction to heat up water, and I would say, I think steam energy is going to be the big next energy.
But the thing is, they use clean water, filtered water, and stuff like that, like extremely filtered water. But I'm talking, like, would it be viable in the future to
you're just saying that
like,
we're just going to put out a boil order for the entire world?
Well, not exactly.
But
I mean, like,
everyone start boiling everything.
Like, just basically just put out a freaking big ass pump into the ocean, and just, obviously you're gonna have to do some sort of filtration because there's gonna be fish and shit. But like, just taking water from that we can't drink instead of taking our drinking water, because the steam,
you also can't
the water
just pump
used
from the ocean, because that's salt water, and the whole thing that we have is all the cities and stuff that rely on the ocean for food and whatnot. You kind of can't just pump it from there. So a lot of the contamination in the water is mostly from, what we currently have, people dumping and throwing plastics out and all that. So if there were a way to clean the water up from doing that, which, I mean, it's not like a pool. We can't just toss a few buckets of chlorine in the ocean and watch it clean it up. But
technically we could. It just would take an extremely long time and an absolute piss load of chlorine.
So we don't have
need
chlorinated
really big bucket.
fish.
I don't see the problem.
I don't think I want my Atlantic salmon to have chlorine in it.
I just want to put my fish in the bucket, let it get clean.
Put my fish in the bucket.
Go
My
fishing.
fish in the bucket.
Fish in a barrel.
I think steam power, because it's already one of the well-developed energy sources.
Exactly. It was part of basically what drove the Industrial Revolution was
that's
the evolution
why we
from
have
developed steam power to combustion.
It's also one of the reasons why I try not to, but I kind of laugh at the people that say that, like, oh, wind power and solar power, that's what we need. We need that. Well, it's such a new technology that there's not really much we can do with it right now unless we develop those technologies.
Actually, that type of technology, like especially solar, is only viable for basically 1-to-1 scale. So, like, if you, like, the only time someone would ever get use out of, at least right now, viable use, because basically the distribution between not steam power, but like conventional coal burning and nuclear power and, you know, like solar power is so great. Like, basically to equal the same amount for your house that would be provided to your house in an hour from like a normal power plant, for solar panels would take probably like 50 solar panels. So what people do, and basically how it is now, is you have to individually get your own solar panels, put it up on the house, and what they do is they actually have the solar panels charge batteries, and then they'll slowly trickle and siphon off batteries throughout the night. Because obviously the power is just a pass-through when it's getting solar. When I get my own house, I'm going to invest in solar energy, because I think it's not for, like, you know, it is environmentally friendly, but also it's economical in the long run, because you're not paying the electric for using your solar panels.
Which is true. I mean, think about what Ox did. He got his house down to, what was it, like net zero?
Yeah, he doesn't pay a single cent. So to give
background, he has a well for his own water that he pumps. He got
give background to people who have no
idea. Hold on, stop. We've got to give background. It's not just talk. We're talking to an audience now, Michael.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm always talking to an audience, and that's the voices in my head.
Yeah, I was like, that's the cheese voices. They are infecting you.
Cheese boys.
So basically, this teacher, he was like basically a generic economic social studies teacher, bounced around between U.S. government economics and stuff like that. Well, this guy was just, I don't know what it was with him. I mean, he is a crazy motherfucker. It's like, he was my driving ed instructor. He is a crazy mofo. And basically what he ended up doing is just full bore into, because his house, I never got to see his house. I know some people did. Like, basically, it's kind of out in its own little woodland, doesn't it? And like, he owns his own plot of land. It's not really urbanized.
He's even got like a little stream or...
Yeah, that's what I thought when I heard. But, like, so he put all this money into solar energy and put enough money into it over time, and basically has a net zero electricity bill a month. I think he said the only time he ever paid an electricity bill was in the winter, because he still has a gas furnace that uses natural gases, but he can subsidize that at any time by basically switching over to electric radiators and just going off the electricity. But it ends up being cheaper.
I think he even got rid of that because he switched to geothermal heating, didn't he?
The last I heard, that was a thought. This was a long time ago. Last I heard, that was a thought. But at that moment, and this was already like 2018 last time I talked to him. Wow. So it's, you know, at that moment he still had that option to either switch back and forth or just keep it on gas. But I mean, if you're just using gas and not the actual electricity, and especially, I mean, this was 2018, gas was super cheap, so he was still paying $15 a month for heating his whole house.
Right.
Yeah.
So I
don't know. Maybe he should switch to steam power.
Maybe. If he's got a well, if he's got a little stream. You know, see, I want to get like a workshop in my own place. Like, I want to get like a decent plot of land and have a workshop that would be like totally independent on solar energy. Do like the 3D print shop and stuff like that.
Yeah, and if you ever need me over to build you anything, get me at least like a table saw. I could do it with table saw.
Just a table saw, and he's good for the labor. Just, as long as you provide him the tools, he's there.
Or a bandsaw.
Well, Michael's the type of guy to just be happy just to be using tools, because he just is such a hands-on dude. Where, like, if you set me in front of a computer and you just say, hey, I need you to install Windows on it, I'm going to do it pretty much with a smile on my face, just because it's so easy and so natural to me. Well, he's the same way. If you're like, hey, Michael, build me a fucking table. He's like, oh, what tools do I get to use?
Gladly. The other thing, too, is, like, I'll say, like, yeah, sketch it out for me and use your crayons.
Yeah, that's the one thing he doesn't do is the design. He just executes.
Well, because that's sort of my payment. You give me a funny-looking picture and I'll make it.
Exactly.
There was a there's a university that did a test with their students of they had their students, and these are like engineering students. They had them draw bikes, and they would build the bikes that they drew. And, it was funny watching this because all these students would draw, and, you look at them, they're pretty good bikes, but they would leave out sprockets, or they'd leave out the pedals, or they'd leave out the handlebars, or they'd leave out the spokes on the wheels. And there was only one kid out of the entire class that actually drew a functioning bike. So it's one of those things of, like, depending on the design you give me, I could do good work. I could get the gist of what
Bike
you
without
want.
wheels.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but what was that analogy driving home? What point?
No, just
Yes.
the drawing for the whatever designs you're giving me.
Okay.
Because if you give me, like, a table, and you just say draw a table, I'll ask you, do you want a round table? Do you want a square table? How big do you want the table?
Draw a table. What kind?
The
Table.
one you eat on.
So,
The
if
table.
you ever ask me to build you a table, I want you to know that if you don't give me a design with, measurements, you're getting a 20-foot long table that's only 5 inches off the ground.
Okay. That sounds perfect. Like Chinese emperor table,
Yeah.
like ancient Chinese tables that are, not even knee height. Like they're just uber tiny.
Yeah.
To the point, like a table's too
tables are
small when if
small.
you're sitting on your ass, crisscross applesauce, and you're sitting on your ass and yet your knees are still taller than that table's too short.
Yeah.
Table is way too short. It's like, your table shouldn't be measured in the amount of ankles, how tall it is.
I would love to meet the people that use ankles as a fucking measuring unit.
Okay, I'm not gonna go there. I was about to say something a little dicey, but it's like I said, maybe in Iran they might.
And you said it anyway.
Yeah, I couldn't help it. It makes me laugh.
Yeah, but there are measuring uniqueness all over the world. I mean, some people still use stones as a measuring unit, which is I think
I
that's
thought
still
that
like,
was what they did to calculate your freaking SAT scores.
stones.
An abacus
An abacus?
and a basket. That is how
And a
it's pronounced.
Yeah, an
right?
abacus. It's an abacus.
Hmm.
Dude, we go taking the ACT again. Just to show up with an abacus. It's like
No, see, because that's not a mandated testing material. They'd kick you out.
really?
I would assume.
Because they have like a list of calculators that you're allowed to use, and I
Yeah,
don't
no,
think an
last
abacus.
I checked,
And you
I
wouldn't
don't
be able to
think
use an abacus.
I
No,
don't
The
feel like
most rugged calculator out there.
I think the big reason why is because it would disturb the other test students to hear that one guy. Every so often
moving
them-
little things.
Because they have those testing sites absolutely quiet, and you just hear in the background click, 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 click.
It's the same thing as a freaking TI-84. It's just.
Yeah, I
I
don't think
guess,
my calculator was ever very loud.
Well, I mean, you
know
also
what?
were one
Fuck
of those
it.
people that
I'm bringing my
slammed
writing
buttons.
exam with a fucking typewriter, a Helen Bowell typewriter. Just gonna be sitting there, and like it's gonna be one of those things that's so quiet that you're so overly conscious of how loud it is. So you're doing it so slow, so just the whole test you're. Ding!
Oh, the page return. Oh man,
That would be-
noise.
That would be the funniest shit. I would not be able to complete my work. I would be laughing. If someone was in the room with a fucking typewriter doing that shit, I would be laughing so hard I wouldn't be able to continue.
I'm gonna bring a typewriter to the ACT.
Dude, I almost got kicked out of the ACT when we took it because I started laughing so damn hard because this kid in front of me got his math portion and got fucking advanced calculus. Opens the door and he just goes, "Oh, fuck this, man." And just closed the booklet and just put his head down.
See,
Oh, dude, I was cracking up.
when I took the ACT, I got normal everything, basic algebra, pre-algebra, stuff like that for the math, basic
I got
writing.
calculus.
All that. But when I got to the science portion, it was asking me to redirect circuits and also figure out chemical formulas for batteries. And I was sitting there, because I consider myself to be pretty knowledgeable about some scientific things. Not a lot, mind you. I'm rather stupid.
I think the only thing scientific you know is that the fact that you're a scientific anomaly. Your left arm goes numb when you sneeze.
No, not just my left arm.
Oh, in
my
advance.
right arm, mostly.
Oh, it's your right arm.
And my legs.
Oh, that's right. The legs are a new symptom.
Yeah. That was what set me off. When it was just my arms going numb, I was like, okay, you know what, I'll deal with it. But, yeah, as soon as my legs started going numb, I was like, okay, I need to go to my doctor.
And then they looked at you like...
And nothing was wrong.
It's like, sir, we're going to have to ask you to leave because we don't want the liability when you collapse dead in our place.
When you collapse dead in the foyer.
Well, because, you know, they took an x-ray of my neck thinking it was a herniated disc or something like that. Or, you know, pinched nerve, whatever. Mm-hmm. Nothing. Perfectly fine, perfectly normal. Okay, we'll have you do an EKG.
God, describing you as perfectly normal.
Yeah. That was what threw me off, was they were like, everything is normal. And I was like, what do you mean it's normal?
To run another test because something is wrong.
With my diet, and you know, my diet pretty much consists of cheese, onions, meat, and then soda.
And Monster. It's not soda, it's
and
Monster.
Monster. So I've actually started getting off the Monster a bit more.
Good.
I haven't had a Monster in a month.
That shit is legit just nothing but garbage for you.
Oh, I know.
Like, that is just piss poor.
And I have a zero sugar Coke. And some water. But,
See, I wonder, though, maybe because you look normal, but you're actually, you know, totally out of whack because you're not a Homo sapien, you're a Cro-Magnon. You're like 3 levels behind us. So, you're normal for a Homo sapien, but because you're a Cro-Magnon, you're still a caveman, that you're completely out of whack.
The one surviving Neanderthal.
No, the Cro-Magnons are 2 steps before Neanderthals.
Oh, don't make me that advanced. But, yeah, no, because every time I go in, they take my blood pressure, and it's always perfect. They sit there and like, yeah, you've got perfect blood pressure. And I'm sitting there like, I have got to have, you know, Crisco fucking oil going through my veins at this rate. What do you mean I'm healthy?
Crisco oil. Now that's a statement, a health statement if I heard one.
Okay, well, I'm powered by Crisco. No, you know what? Not steam power. Steam power is not the future. Crisco, that's the future.
Crisco.
You can lube everything up with it, and it makes good tasting cookies.
Dude, yeah, Crisco shortening is pretty much the shit.
Yeah, because if you put Crisco vegetable shortening, that's what you make to get the best chocolate chip cookies, any cookies.
Oh yeah, every year when me and my grandma for St. Patrick's Day make soda bread, and it's like 2 whole cups of Crisco vegetable shortening, and honestly, nothing makes your hands more moisturized than some shortening.
Yeah.
You feel like you just got a spa day.
It's like edible Vaseline.
I was thinking more Vicks Vapo Rub.
Oh, edible Vaseline. That's just an awful thought.
Oh, don't think about it.
How do you think?
Well, how can I not? You
is?
just said it's like edible Vaseline, and I.
Well, I mean, if you get a big tub of the Vaseline, you can scoop it out with your hand.
Have you ever put Vaseline on a doorknob for someone and just wait? It's awful.
It is. Vaseline doesn't taste very
good. It's awful. I didn't do it to someone, but I've had it done to me, and it was just the worst thing possible. It was at Boise State, and they put it on the doorknob, and I got it, and then they put it in my fucking sock.
Oh, that's mean.
Like, dude, you don't know how awful of a feeling it is to stick your foot in a sock when it's pissing cold out, and you expect a nice warmth, and you just feel smush, and it goes through your toes.
That makes me think of Mice and Men with the Vaseline glove that the guy had.
To keep his boxing hand.
No, it was his like pretty hand because he was like trying to be a hand model or some shit.
No, he was a boxer.
He was a box.
Yeah,
That
he was a
weird.
boxer. It was his boxing hand.
What, are you keeping it soft for the horseshoe?
That's the thing that never made sense to me. He was a boxer, and he put it. I'm pretty sure he was a boxer, but
I can't remember.
He put his hand in a Vaseline glove to keep his hand as pristine as possible.
Yeah, and then he got it stuck in a farming machine. So that's. Oh yeah, that'll do it. That will remove your hand lickety split.
Yeah.
Lickety split.
Curly, yep, Curly always looking for his wife and wearing his boxing glove on his hand. It wasn't a glove. It was a boxing glove, not like a normal glove.
So he just lubed up a boxing glove?
Yeah, he just lubed up a boxing glove and just walked around with it.
That's even worse. Like,
yeah, it's pretty rough.
Well, it's got to be pretty smooth. I mean,
Take my straw.
I remember reading of Mice and Men in school, and my teacher sat there and got to the parts where there's multiple N-words and just started howling it at the top of his lungs, getting really into the book. And our other teacher came like across the hallway because he had his door open, and it was Miss Duquette. And Duquette comes around the corner and goes, "You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and close this door for you." Like as he's just screaming the N-word at the top of his lungs, reading this book.
I'm gonna go.
That's concerning. That is a little concerning.
Oh, he was a dope teacher, though. He said it was in the literature, so I'm reading it as it was supposed to be read.
Oh, so he was just sitting there. He's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna read it as it says," but then just started howling, laughing when he was reading it.
No, it wasn't how he just got super into it, and he was already a really loud guy. Because, like, in the book, when the N-word is dropped, they're arguing. So he was getting into the character.
And he was like a...
Yeah, because he was it was Reitz, the speech and debate teacher.
Oh,
yeah.
That explains it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, dude, I love Reitz. He was awesome. He was freaking awesome. That was the class I slept every day, and he tried to get mad at me, but I had literally the highest grade in the whole class. Because I would just sit there and finish the book in one day, because we never read a book bigger than like 100 pages. And then basically know all the test questions and just sleep. And because it was my first block, so I just sit there and sleep for an hour. Get up. He could call on me while I was sleeping, and I could answer the question and just go back to bed.
That's good.
Except the only time that ever got me in trouble, well, it wasn't really in trouble, just kind of embarrassing, was I fell asleep and I had one of those fucking dreams where you're falling, and I shot up out of my desk and broke it in half. Because, like, you know, I'm a big boy, so that desk was still hooked on me, and I just shredded it. You know? Just kidding. I'm like, oh, I dreamt I fell off a cliff. Like, I'm gonna need a new desk.
That makes me think, one of the only teachers that really liked me was the foods teacher, Mr. David.
No, I never had.
And I never had foods.
But, well, because I took it senior year because I had, you know, electives, or empty blocks, rather. I was like, you know, it's screwed. I'll just take foods class because I get to eat at the end of the day, so I don't have to eat when I go home.
See, I took my two foods class sophomore year and freshman year. So I was kind of screwed out. I couldn't do that, so I just took the empty blocks and went home.
Yeah, and it was really funny because he knew that I knew everything that was, like, being taught in the class. So he didn't care if I took notes or anything. And it got to the point where he was like, hey, you can go and raid the fridge and cook whatever while I teach class. And just whatever you do, make some extra for me. And
that's the thing I never got, is why the hell do we have to take notes in a test in a cooking class?
It's because it's required by the district. It was a thing of, like, they need to require that you're learning this, and for the district, they think taking notes is learning. So as long as he would say, like, okay, you just need to write these few things down because otherwise the district will, you know, throw a fit. But the rest of it was mostly cooking, and because that's the only really way you're going to learn cooking is by doing it.
Yeah, that's the cooking is one of the things that it's only teachable by trial by fire. You can follow instructions religiously and still fuck it up.
Yeah.
It's just something you kind of have to know how to do.
Because the recipe is more of a guide than it is an actual, you know, recipe. Because cooking, especially with baking, granted, baking you have to be exact. That's a science. But cooking, everyone's taste is different, so everyone makes things differently. I mean, some people might prefer this to that or whatever. Some people don't like cilantro on their food. Other people love it. So that was the nice part about the foods class was, he would just let me sit there and cook all day.
See, that's the thing I hated about my 7th and 8th grade foods class was that your grade was literally judged by off the teacher if they liked it or not. And we made burrito pie. Like, it was burrito pie for Cultural Foods Day because we got Mexico. So I decided to make burrito pie. It was basically burrito lasagna in reality.
Lasagna.
It was the most popular dish in the whole class because we were the only ones that made actual food. Everyone else made fucking desserts. We're like, no, we're making actual food. Yeah. And so everyone was just eating it up because they were hungry because that was our lunch because basically we got the opportunity to choose the foods class to get lunch as opposed to actual school lunch. We just had to make enough. And if you didn't make enough, you didn't get to participate because, it's not fair. But everyone else made desserts. So, I mean, everyone's getting sick by the end of it, but we're just feeling great because we have actual food. And she didn't like refried beans, so we got an F. So we got an F because she didn't like refried beans.
That's stupid.
Yeah, she was also a really sexist teacher. It was really weird. It's like I feel weird because she was a nice teacher, but at the same time, she was really sexist and just awful against every dude.
Yeah.
Nice.
See, that was the other funny thing about my foods class was I was my group that I cooked with was a bunch of shy kids, and they always wanted me to lead us in what we were cooking. They would always look at me and they're like, "Okay, Michael, what do you want to cook?" And I said, "I will cook whatever you guys want to." Because I don't want to be the guy that's just like, "Okay, I'm taking the lead. You guys don't get a choice. You don't get a say in the matter."
You weren't gonna be head chef?
I ended up being head chef every single time. Because I was the only one. I did a few times. I'm not gonna lie, but
like that clip from Hell's Kitchen season 1. You guys cook like old people. Fuck.
Cook like old people. Fuck.
Does that mean dusty, slow, or squanchy?
Yeah.
Who popped the piss bag in the curry?
But one of the things is like, when we got to the pie unit, every single kid made like either a pumpkin pie or a pecan pie because you can just buy the can, dump that in the pot. Like
yeah,
the
that's
pie,
stupid.
pie
That's
crust,
easy.
and made that. We were the only one that made an actual pie because I wanted to make a lemon meringue pie.
Oh, dude, I love lemon meringue pie.
Not only was our group the only one that made their own pie crust and used their own pie crust, but we also made the lemon curd, made the meringue, put it all together, and I have the picture. I can put it in here so you guys can see the picture of it. Because when we put it in the oven, the meringue toasted up beautifully. And, God, mouth's watering.
Are you supposed to put lemon meringue pie in the oven?
Yeah.
I thought it was always a cold make. Like you put it in the fridge.
Oh yeah, you put it in the fridge after to like make everything set, but you put it in the oven to cook the curd and cook the meringue because there's eggs in both.
Oh, I didn't know. I've never made it. I've only eaten it.
It's more of a low and slow kind of cook. Gotcha. And that's how you get the meringue to brown.
I can't imagine you would put it in at like 350 for an hour. I would assume it's a lot lower.
It's not like
375 for the next 3 days.
Yeah, there's the.
That looks really good.
Yeah, that was the pie that we made in the class. The meringue toasted up beautifully. We had the perfect curls because when we put it on there, it was just flat. And I said, "No, we'll take a fork," and I just kind of tapped it up with the fork and brought it up and. It toasted beautifully. We cut it. There was a few issues where it was a little watery, but I think that was just how we stored it or something.
I've seen people take the meringue.
Absolutely delicious.
I've seen a lot of people put the meringue on after, like at the table, like higher class restaurants, and take a torch. And
yeah, but I mean, obviously,
it's just
because I couldn't go down to the robotics room and grab the blowtorch.
Yeah, I'm sure they wouldn't just let you go cruise because that was literally on the other side of the school, just cruising in the hallway with a fucking butane torch. And that thing was nothing to be scoffed at either. That was a hefty motherfucker.
Yeah. Well, I used it to melt polycarbonate, and I'm pretty sure that's what's going to give me lung cancer when I turn, 30. So,
Yeah.
but there's that, and we also baked.
Polycarbonate.
We also baked these. These were blueberry muffins. And I mean, I chose blueberry muffins because blueberry are my favorite.
I remember these. You let me have one.
Yeah.
So, like, dude, these things were fucking awesome. That like brown sugar crust on the top was just fantastic.
We ended up making like way too much compared to what everyone else in the class had. So we completely covered these things with them, and then I had a bag of it that I
I
was
love
just
that stuff.
around eating. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I vividly remember that. And so you just brought in this bag because I think you were texting me. You're like, Kane, I got a muffin for you.
Yeah, because every time I made something in class, I would always ask if you guys wanted it, because no one else, my group would always want, like, one or two, and then that was that. So I just brought them after school, because it was my last block of the day, to everyone else.
See, I had my foods teacher was Miss Hush, and she was a nice gal, but it was her first year actually teaching, because the year before when I was in 8th grade, she was my student teacher in foods. Like, so I basically just followed her. And her biggest thing that she remembered, and she was so worried about me being in the kitchen because of just how much I fucked around, was because on the etiquette eating portion in 8th grade food science, teaching you how to properly eat. Well, our kitchen, like, because basically how they did it, it's like every table had a kitchen, and everyone had their own kitchen. And our kitchen ran out of silverware because we had a bigger table. And the only thing that was left was a giant serving spoon. Like, not like huge, but like the big ass, like normal spoons that's just with a big ass fat lip that you use to like serve up beans or something. And
like almost like a ladle, but not.
Kinda. But, I was just sitting there, and she was demonstrating with ice cream, and also letting the whole class get some ice cream, and she's basically telling everybody, everyone had 2 forks, 2 spoons, and she came around to my table, looking at all of us, make sure we're doing it right, and I have nothing else but a giant fucking spoon.
Only a spoonful.
And I was the original, only a spoonful. But and the best part was that actually happened was because she said, okay, well, we got some ice cream, everyone can go take one more spoonful, and it was ice cream, and I walked up there first with this fucking massive spoon and got half the carton and just brought it back to the table. I'm like, eat up, gentlemen.
That makes me think of Chris, you remember Miss Green from middle school?
1 stick of butter equals half a cup.
1 stick of butter equals half a cup. Every single day, so our foods teacher in middle school was
the important thing is 1 stick of butter equals half a cup.
And so every foods class she would always drill that into you, that 1 stick of butter equals half a cup.
Is that even a real measurement?
Nothing.
Yeah.
It's like for some reason in my head that just doesn't track.
Well, so the whole thing about it is it's a way to get you to remember how many tablespoons are in a cup. So 1 stick of butter equals half a cup. Well, how many tablespoons are in 1 stick of butter? There's 8. Yeah. So how many tablespoons are in half a cup? 8. So if you need a 1/4 cup of something, you need 4 tablespoons. And so this
I don't see how the butter makes it easier. Like, I would just rather get told the measurement conversions.
Well, because you'll always remember 1 stick of butter, because that's always 8 tablespoons, is always a half a cup. So it was drilled into us that was always the thing. And you eventually learn from that, well, this is how the measurements work, and you can divide it up based on cups.
Yep, and she said if you learned one thing in this foods class before we left that class you were going to know 1 stick of butter equals half a cup.
I bet you
it was like a drill sergeant about it. She'd randomly call out, what does 1 stick of butter equal? And expected the whole class to a resounding half a cup.
And what was even better was if kids came into her classroom
felt like it was in line
that were sagging, she would stand at the door with a piece of twine and not let them in until they tied their pants up with it. It was the funniest thing ever. Because every single class, Like, the kid would just sit there and plead with her, just let me in. And she said, nope, here's the rope, tie up your pants. And she would full-on stop the middle of, class just to have them do it.
So my foods teacher hated me. And, honestly, she really didn't like me, and I well deserved it, to be honest with you. Because the first encounter we ever had in the kitchen in 7th grade, she barely knew me. First time getting in the kitchen, and there's a whole bunch of 7th graders playing with knives and shit. And I got my hand fucking soaked because it was electric stoves and flat tops, and sat there and got my hand dripping fucking wet, held it right above the burner, and so you could hear the water dripping off my hand. So it goes, and I'm going, and she came running over. I mean, a dead fucking linebacker sprint. And she comes over and checking out my hand and just seeing that it's soaked. And I just start laughing. I wasn't allowed to cook for the next 3 weeks, but it was so worth it.
Evil.
The punishment. You can't cook, but you still have to do the dishes.
That's good.
I had to do the cleanup.
Worst we had was, you remember Isaac, Chris?
Yeah, I remember Isaac.
He got me blamed for putting a paper clip in an electrical socket.
This kid?
I was there for that one. I got to watch him do that.
Yeah.
Did I defend you? No, because it was fun.
No.
I remember the story of the paper clip.
So the whole thing was, in foods class, this kid had 2 broken off pieces of paper clip, and he was sitting there and he was sticking them in a socket, and he was like, "Oh, haha, it's funny. It tickles. It zaps me." Keep in mind, this was the kid that would stab people with pens. So he was obviously not a very bright light bulb. But we go into the next class, and I had taken his 2 bits of a paper clip and thrown them away. Well, this motherfucker pulls out another whole paper clip, but doesn't break this one in half. And just looks at me in the middle, and this was in our tag class, the talented and gifted, where it was supposed to be, the smart kids. I don't know why I was in there.
Yeah,
I have never met someone in tag that says that they're in tag that is actually somewhat intelligent.
No, the district always put me in there, and I never wanted to be in there.
Hey, what the fuck?
Instead of learning about the Civil War, I got to learn about the Oregon Trail. Yeah, fun.
Dude, the Oregon Trail is so fucking lame.
What kind of organs were on the trail?
You want to know what you remember from it? Dysentery. That's it.
You have died of
See, the only
dysentery.
thing that I liked with our unit in the Oregon Trail in 8th grade was that they actually just straight up brought us to the computer lab, made us play for the next hour actual Oregon Trail, and if anyone made it past, they got beef jerky the next day. So no one made it though.
I would have any percented that bitch for some beef jerky.
No, you had to complete it. No damage, or not damage, but no death.
I've beaten it. I beat it, and I'll tell you how. But first, I gotta say, so this kid with his paperclip looked me dead in the eyes and just went, "Hey, Michael, check this out," and full on jams it right in the fucking socket. Removes his hands. It catches fire because that's what they do. And I pulled it out. I pulled it out of the socket, and ended up getting the burn marks on my hand. And I asked the teacher, "Hey, can I go to the nurse and get some burn cream for my hands?" She saw the smoky black outline on the outlet, could smell it, and saw the half-burnt paperclip on the ground. So she immediately thought that I put it in there.
Okay, to be fair, when you do that without saying anything, it does kind of look like that you did that.
Oh, I know. But every single kid in there was like, no, it was Michael. And some of them sat there and watched him jam it in there.
I said nothing because I thought it was fun.
God, you're an ass. Some friend you are.
Well, so this teacher decided, you know what? Because for some reason they've never liked me, those tag teachers. They always hated me. Always. But she decided that to learn my lesson, apart from, having basically third-degree burns on my fingers, I was to go home and write a whole ass 3-page essay on
I didn't know he had to do that, and I would have saved him if I knew that was going to happen. But I thought it was just going to be like, "No, Michael, that's bad," and then go down to the nurse.
No. So I brought in the next day an entire 3-page paper on electrical safety, and the very last sentence was, "This was all a waste of time because I didn't do it and you are stupid." And I gave that to her, and I said, I'm not partaking of this class anymore. And she was like, "Well, then you can just sit there in silence." And I was like, "That's fine. I have books to read. Up yours." And so that was what she got out of it was, here's a paper, fuck you.
Here's the paper, fuck you.
Yeah. No, and then, because...
Kind of what the IRS is, isn't it? Here's a paper,
that was
fuck you.
that was the year she moved to Oregon or something, so she could, take the Oregon Trail and hopefully die of dysentery. But,
Didn't she go to, like, Arizona?
I don't know, and I don't care. She looked like Edna Mode from the from the Incredibles.
From the Invincibles.
No kidding.
But yeah, no.
Who do you think would win, Omni-Man or Mr. Incredible?
Omni-Man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, as two of us have Omni-Man profile pictures.
I saw you change your Xbox picture to the one that I have.
Because it's funny. Because that's what I'm best at, stealing content from other people.
So we've been going for about an hour now. And,
It's been 50 minutes.
Oh yeah, it's about an hour.
It's like I'm looking at the time span. We just hit 51 minutes exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
What, are you done already?
No. I'm just saying that's where we're at right now. And all we've talked about is burning ourselves and being an asshole to teachers.
Okay. Your point?
I'm enjoying this.
Your point.
Dude, I fucking love Omni-Man, though. I think he's probably my favorite hero / villain.
Pathetic.
Because
I still need to watch the show.
You need to, dude. But I also am an absolute simp for J.K. Simmons. That dude is just
Simmons, man.
just fucking wife material. Have you seen that recently? That he is just absolutely fucking shredded now, for no reason. He just decided to. He just there's no role coming up, but dude, he's just a monster. I think he's in his 70s and is just shredded because he wanted to. So everyone's like, looks like Invincible's getting a live action remake.
It's one of those things that makes me think of Senator Armstrong from Metal Gear Revengeance. I think that's the game.
I never played any of the Metal Gears.
I think you would like
dude because he encapsulates America.
Yeah, the nanomachines. Yeah, because he's got that like Poindexter haircut, the glasses, got the pocket protector shirt, and then he rips his shirt off and he's built like a tank. It's.
You guys seen the movie Whiplash?
Whiplash? You always talk about Whiplash.
Yes, because it's probably one of the best movies of all time. It is fantastic. You wouldn't think on the surface, when you talk about a movie about jazz, that it would be as good as what it is. But it's fantastic.
Like jazz.
And the whole reason I started watching it was because this clip of J.K. Simmons in the fucking movie started and it's just this old man, and I love J.K. Simmons to death, but when he's fully shaved up, he looks like, a cancer ball sack. He does. And so you see this ball sack screaming at people, he's like, if it wasn't for your old faggot-lipped little father that couldn't write a book and your mother left when he found out he wasn't Eugene O'Neill, and just cursing, it made me laugh so fucking hard.
It's always those old guys that will rip into you for the littlest of things, and then once it's done, they'll just sit there and look at you and I had absolutely.
And their anger towards you is always directly related to how much of a ballsack they look like.
I know, and then the guy, it's like they're at this competition, and this guy that's literally telling them to queue up walks in there to tell him, and J.K. Simmons not even looking at him. Holds his finger towards him, shushes him, and goes, "You better leave right fucking now before I demolish you." He walks away and he's like, "I'd still fucking see you, mini-me." It's just amazing. But yes, it is a 10 out of 10 movie that you have to see. It's fantastic. I have it. It's fantastic. Now, what does this have to do with Omni-Man? It doesn't.
J.K. Simmons.
That's what it has
to do. It doesn't.
Also, Cave Johnson. Cave Johnson is Omni-Man.
I'm gonna burn your house down with the lemons.
I'm gonna burn your house down with the mark. What's another 17 years? Make another portal gun.
17 lemons.
No, Portal. Oh man, I haven't played Portal in a while. I was thinking of games I haven't played in a while.
Game tonight.
I was thinking of games I haven't played in a while today, because I can't go to work or anything. And so one of the games I was thinking of, because I have them on my shelf, is the Halo games. And I was like, you know what, I might, start my Xbox and play Halo 2 tonight. And then I remembered that Clarky's got my Master Chief collection, and I think he sold it.
What?
Yeah, I gave it to him. I lent it to him.
Don't you have it on PC?
No, I don't have it on PC yet.
Why not?
Because I just haven't.
Dude, it's like
I've been
$5.
busy downloading Anime Girl mods.
I think it's $5 for each, though, isn't it? I think the rest of them you have to get.
But I might get it.
I think they're. I mean, you can individually purchase, but they're not more than $15.
Wait, no.
I do know that Battlefield 2042 is only like $30 right now.
Yeah, because it keeps going on sale.
Oh no,
dude!
no all of the Halo games are on sale. You can buy all of them. It's Reach, Combat Evolved, Anniversary, Halo 2 Anniversary, Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST, and Halo 4 for $15.99.
Dude,
it's
that's
on sale.
A fucking deal.
It's on sale for another 17 hours.
That's a deal
Otherwise,
and a half.
The games on their own are anywhere from $2 for Halo 3 ODST to $4 for the rest of the game.
See, there
Why
you
is
go.
ODST so much cheaper?
Because ODST, they basically they actually realize that it's not really worth a standalone game. It's an expansion. It's good, but
ODST.
I love ODST, but it's not even a quarter of the length of Halo 3, and it adds no extra content. And because there's no I think there's ODST Firefight in MCC now, but that's it. But back in the day, they charged $60 the year after Halo 3 came out. So it was kind of like not really worth $60, but yet at the same time, everyone bought it because it was fun. I remember getting it because you got the campaign disc and then the multiplayer disc that was literally just Halo 3. It was Halo 3 without the campaign. It just had the DLC.
Yeah, which was more maps.
But yeah, it was Halo 3 without the campaign.
That makes me think, never mind. Go ahead.
Did you know there's
I was
trading
back,
cards for this game
completely pointless to what we're doing.
I'm gonna start.
I was about to start talking about food again.
Could you two just one at a fucking time, please? Both of you has done nothing but talk over each other this whole time. Good fucking lord.
What we're good at.
It's just the second Michael starts talking, Chris has to say something, vice versa.
Vice versa.
Vice versa.
No, it's Visa.
Visa?
Yeah.
Visa versa?
Yeah, Visa
versa.
Visa versus. Is that I'm gonna say something I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah, it's slowly getting there. It's like I know what's coming. I can hear it because I've already put it together in my own head.
Visa versus, kind of like the PUBG lobby, but
PUBG.
You have to fight to get into the country.
That's what we should do. That'll solve all the political.
Change immigration.
That'll change all the political beef with immigration. Is if we just basically take, instead of the ice cages, we just have an ice arena, and basically just tell them, first one to crank 90s to get the Victory Royale gets then their family into the U.S.
It's their family into the U.S.
Okay.
See, where would you host it though?
Texas.
See, but then you have to bring the people into the country in the first place.
You know that Texas is like 90% in Mexico, right?
Not the part we care about.
Mexico. Did you know Texas at one point tried to secede from the United States?
They've tried to do it multiple times. They're thinking about doing it again.
They should.
But also, they were going to, but then the whole populace voted against it because Texas is basically the only state to run its own power grid, that runs its own water, and they got hit with one blizzard and it completely failed for 2 months.
Yeah.
Basically showed that, they might need Big Daddy to come and give them their power.
Give them snowplows and salt.
Big Papa Biden, give me electricity.
Joe Biden.
Yeah, welcome to the Joe Biden.
Joe Biden.
You know what? That's where we'll have them fight for their U.S. citizenship, in the Joe Bidome.
The Joe Bidome. Joe Bidome. Or the Dimsdale Dimmadome.
Dale Dimmadome. Dum dim dim dim.
Dimmy Dimmy Dimmadome. Dinner the Dim Dim Dimmadome. That's
We
right.
get into a Hunger Games scenario just for like healthcare and stuff.
Separated in districts. We have the lefts and the right, and the gays and the non.
That's honestly, this country is.
This
becoming
has
more and
taken a
more
turn
interesting.
towards the unexpected.
And what we'll do for teams is make the gays and the rights work together, and the nons and the lefts work together. So it's
the straights and liberals work together, and then the gays and conservatives work together.
Yeah. So it's
Well,
just immediate
that's like
civil
just doing
war.
a class project.
It's a crossplay is enabled on this server.
Honestly, I feel like that would end
Friendly
up
fire is
being one
now
of those
active.
projects of like you're the smart kid and you just get the 3 stupid kids in the class and you have to do it all by yourself.
That too. But if you're John Wick like me, just, give me 2 chopsticks and a Miyagi stick and I'm out of here.
Mr. Miyagi.
Dude, I remember how pissed everyone kept getting at me when I was at work and like right after I graduated. And there was this fly in the shop going around and everyone's trying to get it and I just wouldn't even attempt. They're like, why aren't you even trying to get it? I'm like, because I don't have my chopsticks. And they were just like, shut the fuck up. And every time there's a fly, I'm like, I get it, but I don't got my chopsticks.
Nice.
Get it, but I don't got my chopsticks.
You know, the way
I know what's
I've
wrong
always
with it.
dealt
You ain't got no chopsticks in it.
flies that are bugging me was I just get a flick ready, like, on my fingers, and just slowly move my hand closer and closer until I obliterate it.
See, I've always imagined you being the person to have that freaking elephant trunk that, like, your nose just expands and just brushes your own face. You just
I
And
do
that's
have
An eater and a
quite
tongue comes
nose.
out and grabs it. Prehensile tongue.
No, I'm surprised you didn't think I was gonna have like one of those chameleon tongues that'll shoot out and grab them.
Well, you're not feeding on them
No,
because
well,
you just
not that
eat
know of.
garbage. You just raccoon garbage it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, if the meat's moldy, I can just cook the mold off.
Exactly.
It's like flies are pretty much garbage. Pretty much.
Is that way they do the little maniacal hand movements?
If the FDA can feed me insect parts, I can feed myself mold.
Do you know that if you like jelly beans, you like fly guts?
I don't like jelly beans.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, what made you come out of the woodwork, humbug?
Well, I just don't like jelly beans. I have a story about why I don't like gummy bears. I guess I just don't really like jelly beans.
I love jelly
it's-
beans, especially
it's just
Starburst
one of-
jelly beans.
It's just one of those
Especially
things of
great.
like, I just never really liked them.
Did you get screwed over as a kid and your like grandparents bought those off-brand jelly
No.
beans with the black ones?
The off-brand black licorice jelly.
Yeah. Oh,
No,
I
'cause for
remember
me-
in welding class, the welding teacher Zinn gave me and Blake. He said, "Hey, I don't like these black jelly beans. Eat them." And we're like, "No, we don't like." He's like, "What? You kids don't like black jelly beans?" And Blake goes, "Fuck it." Eats a handful of them and tries eating it and just immediately threw up because it was so bad.
Those are the black licorice ones, aren't they?
Oh my god, yeah.
They're like black licorice, except they flavored them with arsenic instead.
But
No,
it, also
for
they put
me-
chalk powder in them.
Oh.
Arsenic and chalk powder.
Like,
See,
I think the only thing that's worse than black licorice is chocolate licorice.
yeah, that is true.
Chocolate
Chocolate
licorice
licorice?
is gag worthy.
They made
I'll
Yeah.
licorice.
I'll stick to my red rope. Thank you very much.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, it's
I
I wonder if
chocolate
you cover them
licorice.
in enough chocolate to where they're bearable.
No, it's probably more like the chocolate cheese. Just putting chocolate on something doesn't make it better. And often cases it
Oh yeah,
makes
it's
it
like a
worse.
mask.
I'm not
like
talking about
the
putting.
mask?
I'm not talking chocolate covered licorice. It's chocolate flavored,
Chocolate flavored
Not
black
chocolate-
licorice.
not chocolate
Oh.
flavored, or not chocolate covered, chocolate flavored.
Well,
Chocolate flavored. Gee, that's awful.
Yeah, it's not, but it's not black licorice. It's just chocolate licorice.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, it's
Do you
brown.
think that's worse than black licorice?
Honestly, I'll take black licorice over chocolate licorice. Chocolate licorice,
Yeah.
no matter what temperature it is, tastes warm, and I don't know how to explain it. Tastes
warm.
It does,
Yeah.
and that's like one of those snacks that you just don't want warm.
It tastes warm.
What's your opinion on Smarties?
I love Smarties.
I love Smarties.
I think you can overdo them. I think, like, you know, if you just... I can't just sit there and binge a pack of a whole bowl of Smarties.
Now, see, I can.
Okay, so are we talking the parade Smarties, like in the little wrappers, or are we talking, like, the hard shell, like, you know, big
No,
mint
we're
Smarties?
talking traditional
Traditional
hardened-
Smarties.
Yeah, the good Smarties. You know, the ones you go to a CVS and get. Those Smarties.
So I like those, but I mean,
You
like,
just said
one
the
pack.
good ones where you go to a CVS. Those two statements don't.
Well,
fit
no,
together.
I'm talking about the big, like, surplus bags of those wrapped ones.
But you're talking about the ones
Go-
that come normally in the little tiny wrappers that you pull on both
Yeah,
sides
yeah,
to
yeah.
get unwrapped.
Yes.
Yeah, those are Smarties. I don't know. Are you thinking of Mentos?
No, it's the same company because the Smarties are by Wonka. They just make different. It's like actual Smarties where it's like kind of like a giant gobstopper, but it's flat.
Oh no, I don't
They're
think I've ever
called
seen those.
Spree, aren't they?
Are they? I thought they were Smarties.
think-
Oh yeah,
Spree.
yeah. There's Spree and then there's like bottle caps.
Oh, bottle caps are the shit. They don't make those
Yeah.
anymore. I remember those used to be at Casey's, and we would go there. They used to do, like, because no one wanted them, but, like, the Casey's here in Bluegrass had Sprite, A&W root beer, Fanta, and Pepsi all the time, and no one wanted them. And so what we would do is we'd go in and buy our 6-pack, and they would charge us for the price of 3 of them, of the little guys, to bring home, like, 8. And, like, this, when they had to take them off the shelves, they just freaking, like, $5, and we get, like, a bag of them. Oh, they were
That was always the
awesome.
way to do it.
It's just one of those things, and they kept them so tucked in the corner, it's just no one knew about them. I love those things. You just unlocked a deep core memory by saying
Core
the soda
memory.
pops.
I almost bet that I could find those bottle cap ones.
I
It
bet you
also
could.
makes me think of the wax colas and the
Wax
like the
balls.
wax lips. Those ones. Just goes to show
Yeah.
our generation was dumb enough to sit there and eat wax, but
You weren't supposed to eat them. You were supposed to bite the end off and drink the pretty much
yeah, but
sugar
who,
juice inside.
See, I
Who
never had those,
actively
though. I don't know what those are.
correct way?
They weren't that great, to be honest.
No,
it was
they
a lot of
weren't.
effort, and then you had a lot of trash, and they just weren't worth it.
I just realized we were talking about 2 different bottle caps, by the way. I know what bottle caps you were talking about, too. But, like, the ones I was talking about, they actually came in little tiny soda cans, and they fizzed.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know which ones you're.
And the,
Yeah,
the cans were called like Splash and like Sprint.
Oh, yeah, they were. They were, like, a little off-brand type, but it was Sprite
were
and
great.
A&W and everything.
Yeah. Sprint.
Yeah, that's
Like
what I was
Splash.
talking about. But I do remember because basically the actual bottle caps like only came in root beer,
Yeah.
but they're still
You
good
can
though.
still get those. The Splish or the Splash Sprint stuff.
Can you?
It's the- yeah.
Where?
I have them right here at 3 6-packs, 18 cans total for $10.
From
Only
where?
18. I have them on Amazon. From Kids Mania is the brand.
I'm about to buy some. Because dude,
They
those
also
things
make Tic Tacs, I guess.
slapped.
What?
Oh, you know what other thing you don't see very much anymore? Nerd rope. Don't see nerd ropes anymore.
Nerd ropes are fantastic.
They
It
are.
was like 2 of
was
Wonka's
like it.
best candies, Laffy Taffy and Nerds, just put into one thing, and it was fantastic. The only time you see nerd rope is edibles. I seen when I was in Myrtle Beach, I saw a lot of nerd rope edibles, and they are not to be fucked with. They are like
Is it just Laffy Taffy covered in like?
you've never had a nerd rope?
Yeah. I'm trying to think how you turn it into an edible.
It's weed. I don't fucking know how, but either way.
Right. So is it just like you've almost like dusted it? I don't know.
But basically, it's the size. It's the size of. They put it in the sugar, like something like that, in the actual taffy itself.
Oh,
but,
gotcha. Okay.
But basically, like this thing is they're so potent, especially down in Myrtle Beach, that like. It's one of those things because it's the size of a normal nerd rope, and why it's so dangerous to be a fat kid around edibles, because it's the size of a normal nerd rope, and like a normal nerd rope doesn't really fill you up, but like a normal size edible nerd rope is supposed to like feed 6 people. So you can easily get ultra blazed.
For 6 people? I always just ate them by myself.
No, not normal nerd ropes. Edible nerd ropes.
Oh, okay. Also, you were asking about how they make them edibles. It's cannabis. You can turn into an oil, so it's the THC oil.
Gotcha.
So they mix that in when they're making them.
Honestly, at this point,
you take a nerd rope, dunk it in water so it's wet, and then just like throw clumps of marijuana on it until it.
Honestly, at this point, a lot of the states that make stuff that for packaging and for like baking stuff. All is legalized recreational, so there's like basically you can buy almost any ingredient but like a THC version. Like there's this THC butter that I tried. My ex-girlfriend got it, and she tried to make brownies.
I can't believe it's not marijuana.
And and like it was supposed to like basically that's how you make an edible, and like I wanted to try an edible because I've never been high, but I've always kind of wanted to try it, but I can't smoke it.
Right.
And because I cough and cough and cough and cough, and I know you're supposed to, but because of my asthma, I cough more than everyone else.
Yeah, which is why I've avoided anything like that.
I've only tried it twice, but it's here nor there. It's like my parents know about it. I told them I don't care. But I wanted to try an edible, but like an enjoyable edible. I don't like the gummies because I don't like gummies enough, so I just don't want to try a gummy. And like it was like this weed butter is supposed to help you like basically make an edible out of like normal baking, but she fucking burnt it so bad that basically cooked the weed out of the butter. It just made it shitty brownies.
Awesome.
Yeah,
the butter tastes good.
I mean, it kind of like is one of those things. It was all right when you had it with something, but it tastes herby, like it tasted like dirt, like that there was dirt in there because like it was herbs. It's weed, it's herbs. Right. So it's like I tell everybody like I don't know if you've ever tried CBD oil, which is basically like another extract that can be taken from a marijuana plant that helps with like pain. It's basically like pain relief and some of that stuff without the high. And so my dad used to have some for his joint pains because it's a pretty often subscription. It helps with anxiety too and everything. And he just had me try it to go to sleep one night. And like you put it under your tongue and just let it sit there and it soaks in and like it helps you.
Stupid mint fucking.
Yeah, and it helps you, and it's one of those things to where it doesn't taste bad, but at the same time, you kind of have like this taste of like, was there a piece of grass in there? Like it's just like that very, it's like that very herby taste. It doesn't taste bad, but it's like it tastes like dirt.
Dirt's my favorite flavor.
Dirt's my favorite flavor.
There's a type of butter that's made in France. It's a seaweed butter.
That sounds fucking awful.
No, well, so the whole point of it,
that or the most salty motherfucker ever.
I think that's the whole thing. Is it's supposed to be, and you only get it in like little pucks. So it's something that you use for like a recipe.
So like naturally salty butter, like for a naturally salty.
You're telling me it's not one stick of butter equals half a cup of seaweed butter?
I don't think so, because it's not in a stick; it's a puck. So how many pucks of butter?
Okay, but at the same time,
puck or like a peppermint.
At the same time, most everywhere else in the world puts fucking milk in bags. So let's take that for a grain of salt.
Yeah,
grain of seaweed.
I don't know why, for real. Like, okay, I know America's kind of the anomaly for a lot of this stuff, but the one thing I think we have right is putting our milk in cartons. Like,
cartons or jugs, yeah.
Or cartons or jugs. I don't get why you think it's a great, like, dude, you know how awful it is? Like, I've seen videos of people, like, coming home from the
Maybe.
grocery store in every other country with a bag of fucking milk, and it's just flopping around in their hands and
Because
everything.
they like take the bags and they like put them in dispensers in their fridge. Then
Yeah.
you open the fridge door and you like there's like a little tap for milk
It's a
instead
bit like
of.
how the hotels would dispense milk here.
Kinda. But, like, you know, also I've seen things where it's like, I've thought about getting one. It's kind of not a bad idea. Where, like, you literally, it's this thing that because, you know, have you ever noticed how milks have a twist, like, top to it, but it's just a pop-on cap? And some of them do have an actual twist. But, like, it's something to where if it has that twist, you can get it, like, basically a dispenser nozzle that just, like, you put it right in your door and you just replace the cap, and then you can just press a button just like a dispenser, like everywhere else, for your milk. And, you know, and then you get a new thing of milk, you just rinse off the old one, wash it, and then put it in the new milk. It's, I don't get why everyone, it's like, that's one of the big things when I hear foreign people making fun of America. Well, you guys put your milk in cartons and stuff. Like, how was that? I feel like that's a flex. Everyone else is doing
You
that
drink your
wrong.
milk out of an inflated condom. You know?
That's like, okay, there is something so blissful about, especially, I don't know if you guys really have done this before or get the same satisfaction as I do because I live alone, is being able to get up about 3 in the morning and you're dead thirsty, but you're like, man, water just ain't hitting it right now. And you just get up and go to your fridge, pop the cap on your milk, and just drink it out of the carton.
I do that.
Oh, it's delicious. A nice cold thing straight from the source. How the fuck are you going to do that with a bag?
Until the carton's like at that point
Maybe
where it's like one last cup of milk. So I'm not like, am I weirdly putting my lips around somebody else's carton of milk?
See, but at the same time, if you do that in a bag, like, you know, it's like, well, you could just hold the bag up.
It's sucking directly from the teat.
Yeah, but if you like hold the bag up, but the thing is, that's like all or nothing at that point because it's a catch-22. The second you get your bag, because you're gonna have one hand holding it to your lips and the other hand holding the back of it, and
You know,
then
I'm
it's just gonna come
wondering-
rushing so fucking fast to your mouth that basically you're there chugging it, or you're getting an absolute mess when you try to stop drinking it because you're gonna stop drinking and it's still gonna come.
I'm wondering if the
Oh,
reason
boy.
they put it in the bag is because it's more natural. It's more like it's in the udder, so you're just carrying around an udder of milk.
Okay, but first of all,
Straight from the teat.
I think it comes from that, you know, Europeans discovered milk, and I really want to know the real story of how the first guy discovered that cows' udders produce milk. You know, did he just go up and say, oh, I have one of those, and just start
I'm
going,
sure
and
it's because they figured out
Well, I
human
mean, you see
babies get
the
milks from their mother.
and you see the
and
calves drinking it.
Right, so they probably saw it. I don't know why they looked at a different animal and said, now I'm
I
going to
mean-
drink that instead.
The first milks were also from goats, because think about
Even weirder.
the first recorded times that like cheeses were made were.
how does the fuck does it get
thousands of years
cycled
ago.
back to cheese?
Because we're talking about milk. Milk is
Cheese is
dairy. Cheese
eternal.
is milk. It's dairy. So now we're talking about cheese. Deal with
Cheese
it.
is
I like
eternal.
cheese.
Because we
So-
talked about butter, and then we talked about milk, and now we're talking about cheese.
We have gone full udder. Okay.
Full udder.
Have you ever put an actual, I'm sure you have, Michael, but there is something so awesome about getting a slightly perfectly like golden browned piece of toast with an over easy egg and a slice of sharp cheddar on it. Oh,
Fuck yeah.
that is probably the most heavenly breakfast ever. And then if you can slap some Greek yogurt on the sides too, mwah, it's game time. That's a meal for champions. That is a meal you're gonna like leave and kill someone.
Oh yeah. No, that's definitely a good breakfast meal. I always like. Here's one question: patties or links?
Ooh,
That's a good question.
Depends.
ooh.
If I'm eating it as like a side,
Links.
if it's something where if I'm trying to make a sandwich or something, like a breakfast sandwich, 100% of the patties, they're just a lot easier to work with.
Yeah.
But if it's something that I'm eating like on the side,
I'm
like a stack of
talking-
pancakes,
I'd say
eggs,
kind of going
sausage.
along with what you're saying. It would depend whether the sausage is part of the main dish or if it's adding to the dish. If it's like a side, 100% links.
Mhm.
But if it's
So,
part
that-
of the main dish, patties.
Well, obviously for like a sandwich or something like that, yeah, patties. But I'm talking, you've got your scrambled eggs, you've got your hash browns, you've got your toast or your pancakes, you got your cup of milk or orange juice.
Okay, in that case, 100% links.
Links? Okay.
Yeah.
Links.
And I have to agree with you. As much as I like the patties, then you can't beat the link because you can snap into it. Breaking into the casing. I'm not.
Is this where you're going to announce that you set up a sponsorship with fucking Slim Jim?
And this week on Descent into Madness, we're gonna snap into you like a Slim Jim with this new bundle they have going on.
Welcome. Here we are dressed up like fucking.
We've been sponsored by Jim.
Not Hulk Hogan, Macho Man. God damn it. Macho Man, Sausage Savage, out here snapping into your sausage patties and whatnot. But no, so that's like the nice thing about sausage links, is the whole you get to snap into the casing. You get that satisfaction. You also get some of the nice juices that flow out that have been set in there.
Exactly.
Which brings me to the next question of bratwursts or like burgers.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like versus hot dogs.
That's a really good question.
That's not a question. See, bratwurst versus hot dogs. Do you want to eat raccoon anuses or do you want to eat the mighty pig? Bratwurst, of course.
The mighty pig.
Man, brats versus burgers. I gotta say, I gotta go with burgers. I love me some brats, but I love burgers. I am a beef whore.
See, I am the other end. I love pork. Pork is, in my opinion, my favorite meat. Because
I'll take beef over anything any day.
It's like, don't get me wrong, I love me a good burger, but there's not very much you can do with just the patty. Now, the sausage, you can put jalapenos in, you can put cheese in, and it fits perfectly in the bratwurst. That's what I like with the burger. Bratwurst.
I've done that with
burger. Yeah,
I've done that with burgers. It's not very
easy.
Yes, it is.
I know you can do it, but it's not as easy as, the link. Plus, you can put all the seasonings in, and it doesn't taste a little funky. Because the thing with beef is, the best way to enjoy your beef is just salt and pepper.
Exactly, because that's because of how great beef is. It's pure. Pork needs so much additives just to taste fucking good, where beef is just beef. Beef tastes just great.
I have to go on the other end though, because just take like pork. You can take a pork chop, put some salt and pepper on it. That's it. Shit's delicious. I think it's just crumbled. Like, if you take it ground, is beef better than pork, or is pork better than beef?
Ground? Ground.
Like, ground pork versus ground beef.
Ground pork versus ground beef.
Just talking about the meats, not the dishes you put it in.
I'd still have to go beef.
Beef?
Yeah, beef on this one.
Beef? So I guess I still love me sausage. I love.
And it's good.
Oh, we know you
I don't
like
know.
Sausage.
If I was pinned into a corner and I had to pick one for the rest of my life, I think it would be beef. I think
it's because of that red meat. Red meat versus pink meat.
It is a good question.
Honestly, yeah, that is a very, very good question.
It's tough because
anyone listening, why don't you let us know, pork or beef?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, pork or beef.
Yeah.
Pork or beef.
That we'll have to bring up in every episode.
Pork or beef every episode.
The other thing too is, some days you crave a good bratwurst. You just crave a good sausage.
Yeah.
And other days you crave a good burger.
It'd be weird missing one.
Honestly, yeah, it's for me. I wouldn't be enjoying one with like a life without the other. Like, I say out of the two, I'd have to pick beef, but I don't want to go without a good pork chop.
Right. Yeah.
And think about it, bacon.
Yeah,
you wouldn't be able to have your bacon.
But at the same time, I would rather eat beef. I would rather have beef ribs over bacon any day.
Which is true. But now you have to get into the question of beef ribs or pulled pork. If we're talking barbecue,
I'll do beef ribs all day.
Beef ribs, really?
Yes, beef ribs over pulled pork all day.
There's also pulled. There's pork ribs too.
Still beef ribs.
Pork.
I love pulled pork. I mean, like, I love just meat in general, but like, I prefer my beef.
That-
My beef ribs are just, to me, way better.
That's one thing I'm planning on investing in, is getting a good smoker.
You
Because-
should get a pit boss. My older brother has a pit boss. They're not as expensive as I thought they were going to.
Because
And
I can smoke with my Weber, but I want an active, it is for smoking.
there is pit bosses can technically grill just because they're electronic and they're pellets. They're pellet smokers. They can technically grill because you can. I mean, technically any smoker can technically grill. You can get it hot enough to grill. But
It's basically just a grill that specializes in smoking, is what most of them are.
Yeah, but that pit boss was just fucking awesome, and they're not as expensive as I thought they were going to be.
There's pit bosses and Traegers. Those are the two good ones, and you can always get those green egg smokers. Those ones are also really good.
We had an awesome smoker, but my dad did, but he just didn't use it, so he sold it.
Yeah.
He just because he doesn't have time to smoke. I mean, especially when he had it, but he had it before he's got this job now, and just didn't have the time because it was like, okay, time to get up at 5:30 and check every other half hour. Make sure the temperature's good.
Yeah, because that's one of the things about smoking meats is it's not just a
it's a delicate process.
I'll put it on there for half an hour. No, because when I smoked my pork butt. And I made that. It was a 6-pound pork butt I picked up from Johnny's meat market, and I smoked it. I smoked that for 24 hours, and let me tell you, oh man, the next time I'm gonna make you guys pulled pork, I'm gonna have to go there, pick up a pork butt, and smoke it for you guys, because that was good.
Fuck yeah, I bet it was.
I have the picture of it too.
I know,
Ribs we did. The ribs we did were sad because I didn't do what I had planned on doing, which is my family's kind of secret, not so secret, putting your ribs in a pressure cooker before you put them on the smoker.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that before.
But yeah, that was the pork butt. And let me tell you, it was a little hard to shred. Because I didn't really go and put any sauces on it. I just kind of put the mustard,
but that's
the rub.
That's the best at the end of the day, though.
Yeah, because it was tough. It was a nice bark, and let me tell you, oh man, was that good.
To me, less is more. Like with most seasonings and everything, I think it's too easy to overdo. If the meat's not good enough to let the seasoning and stuff should be an additive. It shouldn't have to be the flavor. If the meat's not good enough to speak for itself, then you're not getting a good cut of meat.
Yeah, that's one of the things of, and this is one reason why I still go back to the question of I can't really switch out beef and pork is because the Japanese cows, their A5 Wagyu, the fat marbling on those is basically flavor itself. You don't need to do anything but add a little bit of salt to that, and you are good to go.
Honestly, the best thing to do for beef, especially steaks, and what we do, is we coat it and cover it in kosher salt for about 20 hours, and then we basically rinse it off and let it sit for another 4 hours, and that just brings all the moisture out of it, and it really opens up the meat to basically where it starts filling all that missing moisture in with itself when you're cooking it. So you basically replace water with flavor from the meat.
Yeah, and the other nice way to do it is for steaks that I like, the T-bones that I'd cooked. God, that was such a good deal. I need to go back to Fairway and see if I can get that deal again. But you do that kind of stuff. You season it, and then you just get a pan ripping hot. Put a little bit of oil in there, something, move it around, and then you just put those on there flat, flip them once they've got a nice burn on them, and then you stick them on the grill and slow smoke them.
I don't put oil in the pan. I put butter on the steak.
But so the T-bones that I had cooked, the ones I was talking about, the way we cooked them was we put some butter in a pan, got it brown, and then we basted them with garlic and a little bit of fresh thyme that we'd picked from our garden. And put that, and we would just baste that over the steaks. And let me tell you, dude, juicy, perfect medium rare, absolutely delicious.
How do you eat your steak, Chris?
Huh?
How do you eat your steak?
10?
Yeah,
I don't know.
if you don't know what he's asking, it's rare, medium, medium, well. And if you say well done, you're no
medium
longer
rare.
my friend.
Dude, I spaced really bad.
Okay. I was gonna say, if you say medium,
What do you
or
mean
if
your
you say well
steaks?
done.
Preferably with a knife, but a serrated spoon works in a tough sell.
Serrated
Spot.
spoon.
Serrated spoon. That sounds just
That I would like to see. That's the
See,
uh,
I eat medium well.
Serrated spoons exist. I don't remember what they're for.
Just because of how my whole family is. Like, my dad likes all of his stuff well
Yeah.
done because my grandpa basically used to make it well done plus another 10 minutes. So it's just what we're all used to. But I eat medium well. I like just a bit of redness. I don't like to the point where blood's oozing, but I like just a bit of red left.
See, I like rare to medium rare. I like that shit still beaten on the fucking table. That heart better be.
I like that
pumping
shit
blood.
cold. I like that shit mooing at me.
I knew
I'm
someone
always
that would seriously get a
taking it
cast
home.
iron, crank it up to max heat, let it warm up for 5 minutes, put the steak on for each side for about 30 seconds apiece, and take it off and eat it.
Now that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a fucking.
You're basically cooking the surface grime off and then
Pretty
eating
much
what's
it.
left in there. Now I could understand if you're doing that stupid fad where you try to get the tapeworm diet, but
tapeworm diet.
if
Let's
you've ever had a tapeworm, you know it's not very fun after the next 6 days.
Have you had a tapeworm?
No, not that I
I
can
definitely
remember.
thought he was talking about. Not that I can remember the tapeworm.
Not that I
erased
can
my
remember.
memories.
I was
I can
like,
definitely
Michael,
tell you.
that's like, I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but you don't look like you have a tapeworm.
Oh no, I could definitely benefit from a tapeworm. All of us could.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude.
But I don't want
Tapeworm
that
weight
thing
reduction.
run rampant in my insides. I mean, that's
It'd
what,
be like having a little friend.
the amount of cheese I ingest daily would kill that thing.
The
It
tapeworm
probably.
would die.
the tapeworm would be fucking constipated. It wouldn't be able to shit.
Tapeworm would be fat.
Like, let me tell you, if there's ever a tapeworm in my body, it's eating good. Like, that bitch will feast until it dies.
All right. On that note, we just hit 90 minutes on the first podcast, the first Descent in the Madness podcast. I think this would be a good stopping point.
Yeah, we've definitely
Descent into
fucking
tapeworm.
madness.
The Descent in the Tapeworm.
Next time on the Tapeworm Chronicles.
Well, I'd say we're going to try to record these every Wednesday. I don't know when this first episode's going to come out. I'm going to do a little bit of editing on it, and obviously I still have to kind of create some of the basis on where to post it, how to post it. So don't know when this first episode's going to come out, but I think we're probably set on stone on recording at least every Wednesday and probably releasing sometime soon after that. So hopefully whenever this comes up, whenever we get this ready and everything, it won't be too far. Hopefully only about a week. We're planning on doing it like one episode a week. I think that's doable for now.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we've been the Descent in the Madness podcast. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you guys think. Share it to your friends.
Eat cheese and buy gold.
Pork or beef? Answer.
Yeah, pork or beef, answer.
Yeah, and fuck NFTs.